Thank you all for being here tonight. We're delighted to see so many in attendance as members of the Hugh Carithers fan club, partners from the legal community, from the medical and healthcare community, and from our business community. I'd like to start by recognizing the members of our judiciary. If our members of the judiciary could please rise so that we could recognize them and thank them for attending our event tonight. I'd also like to start by thanking our Partners in Justice sponsors whose names will hopefully be displayed on these giant screens behind me, starting with Harrell & Harrell. Harrell & Harrell, Pagic & Pagic, Spore Dodd, the law offices of Ron Scholes, Abel Bean Law, Bledsoe, Jacobson, Schmidt, Wright, and Sussman, the Florida Bar Foundation, and Attorney at Law Magazine, First Coast Edition. If you could all thank our sponsors. And we have additional sponsors who will be displayed on the slides as well. We also have with us tonight, as I mentioned, a number of leaders from the medical community who are here on behalf of the Northeast Florida Medical Legal Partnership, including representatives of Baptist Health and Wolfson Children's Hospital, UF Health Jacksonville, and Disability Rights Florida. Dr. Rita Nathawad of UF Health Jacksonville, Dr. Bashan Iyengar, who's on the faculty of UF Health, and Mike Broglioli, who's the Executive Director of Disability Rights Florida. As most of you know, Baptist Health has pledged to match donations for an endowment for our MLP at 125%, up to $1.25 million over the next 5 years. Our goal has been to establish a $2.25 million endowment. We're extremely grateful for their support, which is helping 200 pediatric patients and their families a year. And we have raised almost $700,000 towards that number just in the last 2 years, much of it through the efforts of Mike Freed. Mike is here tonight, not only carbo loading for Free 3.0, but showing his support for this effort. And with Mike's effort, we have added a number of co-chairs, Darnell Smith at Florida Blue, Ryan Ludwig at Fisher Towsey, and Eric Kroll of Community First. Please join me in thanking all of our medical legal partners and this amazing effort that Mike is helping us spearhead. We have some other folks that I need to recognize as we begin. First, we have a number of folks in our Equal Justice Committee that help us put this event together. If those folks who are in attendance on our Equal Justice Committee, many of whom are also on our board, could please stand. If our JALA board could stand, I see a bunch of them seated together over here, along with our Client Advisory Board. And we have some folks here from our partner, Three Rivers Legal Services, seated over here to my left. Thank you so much for coming from Gainesville and Lake City to join us here tonight. On our tables are small flags and pocket-sized Constitution booklets for you to take home. Yesterday was Constitution Day. We hold this celebration around this time of year in tribute to this extraordinary document. Somewhat ironically, yesterday was also Citizenship Day. Every day, the JALA staff put into practice the first promise of our Constitution, which is to establish justice, and the last promise of our pledge, which is that we should stand for justice for all. And I would like to ask the members of the JALA staff, current and past, to stand so that we could thank them for their service. I will have the pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker, Matt Desmond, a little bit later. As you know from reading his book, he has a major focus on housing and security, and that is at the core of what JALA does. In 2018 alone, we stopped 71 families from losing their home in foreclosure, secured more than $3 million in preserved equity. We also prevented 200 families from losing their homes to eviction, including the preservation of annual affordable housing subsidies totaling more than $700,000. We also handled fair housing cases and secured $416,000 in fair housing relief. This is all just in 2018. We do all of this, as many of you know, with zero general funding from the state of Florida and zero general funding from the city of Jacksonville. We do it instead with the people in this room tonight. A study in Philadelphia found that the city could save $45 million a year just if lawyers had representation in court. And the city of New York is in the middle of a project to provide every single lawyer, every single tenant in housing court with a lawyer, because the city of New York believes that doing so would save them money. I know tonight we have, as I mentioned, numerous members of the Hugh Carithers fan club. I didn't know how many members of the Matt Desmond fan club we had here until we began putting this event together. I don't know if you have an official fan club. He does not. There's a part in the book Evicted where Matt writes about two black women with children who are trying to get housing, and the landlord comes up with a pretext about not renting to them. And he goes back in an interesting part of the end of the book and presents himself to the same landlord as a tenant with the same income level and the same number of children. And the landlord is happy to rent to him as a white prospective tenant as opposed to the two women who were black. And he talks about reporting the landlord to the Milwaukee Fair Housing Center, who never returned his call. In Jacksonville, if you had made that call, the call would have been returned to the gentleman, by the gentleman to your right, Stephen Patel, who has been instrumental in moving us to a litigation-first approach in fair housing. We probably have more fair housing cases pending in state and federal court than any other law firm in the state of Florida. It is Stephen's birthday today. And for his birthday present, he wanted to meet you. So happy birthday, Stephen. We would now like to thank our pro bono recipients, including our folks from St. Johns County, who I very much appreciate crossing the border into Jacksonville. And I would like to call up to the stage the Honorable Virginia Norton, Vice Chair of the 4th Judicial Circuit Pro Bono Committee and the 2017 recipient of the Florida Supreme Court Chief Justice's Award for Distinguished Judicial Service. Assisting her will be Missy Davenport, who's our Director of Pro Bono, along with a familiar face and a special guest that we have asked to join us tonight.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for letting me be here tonight, and thank you, Jim. And I'm going to take a moment of personal privilege and thank my former colleague, Judge Carithers, for letting me be here tonight. And we congratulate you, the 4th does, but we also miss you very, very much. Just want to say that, all right. It's my privilege to be here tonight to help JALA recognize those in our legal community who have provided outstanding pro bono service. Before I do so, I want to say a few words about a special guest and special friend who we have on our stage tonight. For over 10 years, until her retirement earlier this year, Kathy Para served JALA and the Northeast Florida community at large as JALA's pro bono director. And I must say, she also was truly a role model for the entire state of Florida for what a pro bono director should be. So I think we should all give a hand to Ms. Para. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very well deserved. And one of the most humble people I know as well. And speaking of going above and beyond, Ms. Para always has. Kathy's name became essentially synonymous with pro bono in our community. And for that reason, JALA has henceforth named its pro bono awards after Kathy Para. We are fortunate to have Kathy with us tonight to participate in bestowing the inaugural Kathy Para Outstanding Pro Bono Service Awards, and thank you for being here. Although none of the folks who we're about to honor do what they do for recognition, we can all renew our own commitment to serving those who need this kind of help by allowing these individuals tonight to set an aspirational example for us all. The pro bono attorneys we will honor tonight have all handled cases from JALA, the Northeast Florida Medical Leadership Partnership, or Three Rivers Legal Services. An important thing to remember, though, is that in addition to case representation, attorneys can volunteer in many time-limited capacities. At Ask a Lawyer events, such as Lawyers in Libraries, Citizenship Day, Estate Planning Intake Night, Advanced Directives for Seniors, the Name Change Project, and the Eviction Defense Self-Help Project. JALA's outreach involves partnerships with the Jacksonville Bar Association, the Florida Coastal School of Law, Three Rivers Legal Services, the Bankruptcy, Federal Bar, and D.W. Perkins Bar Associations, the Christian Legal Society, HUD Senior Centers, the City Council, the Council on Aging, dozens of area law firms, and Florida State College at Jacksonville. There is truly something for everyone, absolutely everyone. Pro bono attorneys also serve as expert resources for other pro bono attorneys or for JALA staff attorneys, teaching CLE seminars for legal services staff or pro bono attorneys, and they also as well serve on the JALA board. All told, pro bono attorneys give each year about $2 million worth of their time through JALA, but the difference they make is truly immeasurable. Thank you all to all of you all who give so much. On any given day, thanks to Florida Pro Bono Matters, you can go onto JALA's website and find cases awaiting placement, or as I like to say, waiting for you. And so I did a quick peruse of the website, and here are some opportunities that are ready for you right now to serve. And this is just a sampling. Guardian advocacy for an 18-year-old. Client has severe autism and intellectual disability with a developmental age of 4. Mobility issues as client is awaiting a wheelchair. Dissolution of marriage, domestic violence. Spouse has repeatedly stalked, threatened, and physically abused. Injunction against spouse in effect until December 2019. The couple share a 6-year-old child, and there are no marital assets or liabilities. Seeking Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Client is 83 years old and was in a longer-term medical facility. Returned home to find she was facing foreclosure due to HOA fees. She has no living family and is unable to handle affairs effectively. As you can see, that's just a sample. Needs are great. they're greater than that. And for those of you who've already served, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. But for those of you who have some time and an interest, there are many opportunities. And remember, these are not case numbers. These are human beings who are waiting for your expertise. And I guarantee you, they will be so grateful for the time that you give them. And that is ultimately the most ultimate reward a human being can really receive, and that's sincere gratitude. Tonight, we say a special thank you to 9 attorneys, a law firm, and a bank for their outstanding pro bono service. Each award will present as a unique work of art, and each was created by a student in the glass blowing class at Jacksonville University under the direction of Professor Brian Fruss. So, we are fortunate to have these attorneys in our circuit, and although we don't have time tonight to detail their individual contributions, I hope you'll take the time to read about them in the program. They're truly outstanding, and I know also inspiring to me, and I'm sure everyone else in the room as well. Now, if I may have the attention of the honorees, as I say your names, please join me and Ms. Para on the stage by coming up the stairs to my left. As Kathy and I shake your hand and present your award, we'll get an individual photo. But then please wait off stage for a group photo, which we will take after all the awards have been presented. Once we take in the group photo off stage, then you may return to your seats. We'll start with the individual honorees. I now ask that the honorees please come forward and accept your award. First, Brandon D. Beardsley. Is there a photographer out there? You don't want me to be in charge of that. No. All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Beardsley. All right, thank you. All right. Thomas Albert Delagal III, or Tad, as we call him here on the 4th. And next, Anne Marie Janusa, please come forward. Pretty much. Next, Logan Kyle McEwen. Next, James Clifton Poindexter. Richard Stockton. Angela Viltro. And I'd also like to point out, Jeffrey Haney is also one of our award recipients tonight, but he was unable to be here. But I think a round of applause is an honor. And he'll be given his award at a later time. And the next, we would like to honor our firm and corporate citizens who have also honored themselves by being very involved in pro bono service.
Rob Ellis. We do have Rob Ellis.
Okay. Robert Henry Ellis. And we would like to honor our firm honoree at this time, Nelson Mullins, please, represented by partner Frank Morrell. And next, our corporate honoree, TIAA Bank, represented by Senior Litigation Counsel Thomas Ross. Mr. Ross, please come forward. In addition to the honorees you've seen on stage, we'd also like to congratulate the Florida Bar President's Pro Bono Service Awards recipients in the audience, whose awards were presented earlier this year by the Florida Bar. I would ask that when I announce your names that you please stand. First, Ms. Crystal Freed for the 4th Judicial Circuit. Ms. Freed, I saw her earlier. And James Russell Rusty Collins in the 7th Circuit. Mr. Collins, please stand and be recognized. All right. Volunteers like these enable JALA to multiply its impact. Once again, on behalf of the 4th Judicial Circuit, I want to thank everyone so much for their hard work. And just remember, every time that you give of your time and give of your expertise, you're helping an individual not only lift up him or herself, but an entire community that they're a part of. And always remember that, please. And thank you so much. Thank you.